this, or whichever way it goes on, that way is my car, and this is what I did for my tax and MOT exemption. Hello, my name's Dave. I want to tell you about my recent palaver with trying to get my car tax and MOT exempt, what I did, how I did it, where I got to, and then the success that I had. I've got a Fiesta XR2, and I went to the post office on its 40th anniversary, 1st of January this year, and was told that by the person serving at the post office that it wasn't on the system yet, which I understand. It was, maybe not up to date in speed or whatever we're getting on there. And then I asked them when I should come back, and they said April. So I went home and I waited till April. And I went back in April to the post office, and the lady on the counter said, "I'm sorry, it's not on there." So I thought, I'll phone the DVLA. So I rang the DVLA and asked what the problem was. And they said the same, 1st of April. So I said, right, I'll wait a week and I'll go back. So I waited another week and I went back. And it still wasn't on the system. So I phoned DVA again to be told by another person that it wasn't correct and that it was the build date that was the issue. So I'm going to show you a picture. So as you can see on my new logbook, the build date is the 1st of the 1st, 86. And the date of registration on my old logbook before the new one arrived was the 1st of the 12th, 86. And I discussed this with the DVLA. I said, how can you possibly register the car 11 months before you say it was built? And they told me that if Ford didn't tell them that the car was built, then they would register it at the end of the year. And I discussed it with the DVLA, as you would, and I said, that's ridiculous. I said, why would you do that? Why would it not be the 1st of the 1st? So basically they told me I had to go away and come back a year later and register my car as historic a year later, being tax and MOT exempt. And I said, well, but that's wrong. Anyway, there wasn't an argument I could have, but I said, what can I do about it? So I actually asked them, what can I do? And they gave me this email address, which I'll put a picture up for you now, to contact to ask questions. Yeah, so with the email address, DVLA actually told me that I could question the history of my car and ask for the build date. So I emailed off to that email address, and I got a really quick answer really quickly, and I'll screenshot the reply and put it after this. So I sent off the email asking for the advice to that, and got a reply saying that it was within 2 days I'd have a reply back from that. I can't remember exactly 2 days, I wasn't that fussed, but I got a reply. And they asked me for various information about my car, and I'll put a picture of the email now. It was pictures of the car, pictures of the VIN, pictures of the front, the back, the sides, just easy pictures to do, basically. Easy, really easy to follow, very helpful. So I'll put the picture now. And I sent that off, and within, I can't remember, you can look at the dates on the letter, on the email, sorry. I had a reply back saying, yes, my car was older than stated on my logbook, and that my car was actually 1985. And that they would send me a letter of, kind of a certification letter, to say the build date for my car. And this was what Ford had asked me for, evidence to prove the date and age of my car. so that it could be tax and MOT exempt. So I waited. I did have to wait a bit longer for that letter. I'll put a picture of that letter in now. Once I got the letter, I photocopied it, so I had a couple of copies myself, and then I didn't send the original. I sent a copy of it, which was a colour copy, so it looked just like the original, and I sent that off to the DVLA with my logbook and a cover letter explaining the situation, which I'll put a copy of on the side now. Just to add, this is the address that I sent the paperwork to for having the logbook updated. I actually sent it off to the DVA special delivery because I wanted evidence they'd received my logbook, because you have to pay if they lose the logbook or you lose it, and also so that I could keep track of what was going on. And they were quite slow at dealing with this, to be fair. They said it would take about a month, and it was longer than a month. I did ring them about 3 times to track what was going on, and at one point they said they'd read the letter and it had been put to one side and they would deal with it, and they did, to be fair to them, and they got it back to me with my new logbook, which didn't say historic. Okay, I got a logbook through that didn't say historic, and all they did was change the issue date from the 1st of the 1st 86 and the build date to the 1st of the 1st 86, which isn't correct. All right, but I have an evidential letter to prove that my car was built in 85. But when they got back to me, they told me that they would be sending me the logbook in the post with historic on it. So as soon as I got the first logbook, I went to the post office and it was on the system, even though the logbook didn't show it at the time. And I've since received my logbook with the historic details on it. So I'll take a picture of those 2 parts and put them on now. I have to say that the DVLA, they weren't overly helpful, and they were a bit confusing because I did speak to 3 different sets of people at 3 different times, and they all gave me different answers. You can't expect everyone to know everything, I suppose, but in the end I got to where I needed to be. And the DAC advisor, I'll put the letter in that I got back from them as well. She was brilliant, so helpful, and keen to seem to want to get things right for you, and did everything at a great speed. So people might ask me why I bothered to do all this. Well, first of all, I don't have to pay him for tax now, which is nice because I own 3 vehicles and I pay enough road tax as it is. It's not so much about the MOT part of it, but historically my car is actually a year older than it says on the logbook, and I have the evidence to prove that now as well. So although I have an 86 on my logbook, I have a letter from Ford's telling me that my car was actually built in 85, and then I know it's a rare one because it's got boot release. So it's even rarer now because it's a year older than that. So to me it matters because of the history of my car, and it's nice to be able to think that also it's ULEZ compliant now as well. So if I really want to take it somewhere where there's ULEZ, especially if it expands, I can do those things and not have to worry about it too much. And that's why I did it all. But I do know that the DVLA, they won't do it for you, and it means you have to wait another year. And that was another reason I pushed on it, because I'd have had to wait until next April 87 to be able to do it. And in actual fact, if you work it from 85 to now, my car is much more than 40 years old. And it's all this is probably because back in the 80s, did we have mobile phones? Did we have internet? Did we have any other things? No, and Ford probably didn't have the capability to send to the DVLA all the information of every single car they built to be updated with the DVLA. They probably should have done, but they didn't probably have the capability to be able to get all that done. And so the DVLA took the assumption, as they told me they did, that it was built at the end of the year, which was ridiculous because they registered my car on the 1st of the 1st, and yet they said the build date was the 1st of the 12th. So, sounds like a long-winded process. Really wasn't. Really easy to do. I've kind of put what I did in this story. I hope it sounds clear because I do speak German English sometimes. But if it doesn't, leave me a comment, ask me a question. I'm always willing to help. It was simple, just a little bit of time. And it's actually improved my car's history with not a lot of effort and not a lot of cost. Have a good day. Thank you. Just to add that I looked at many forums, especially on the Ford forums and stuff for my car. I don't know if this will work the same for different makes of cars, but what I do know was I had a lot of people talking about the same thing, that they went to the post office, they tried to do it, and then they just were told to leave it a year, and they probably just left it a year. Well, you don't have to. Share this if you can, folks, to help people. Like, subscribe. I've got lots of different YouTube videos on YouTube, but this one to me is an important one for anybody that has the same scenario as me, and for the same reasons would like to get their car correctly dated. Have a nice day.